Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Statesmanship project. In this episode, I want to pick up on the discussion of intensity that I was having yesterday, and I want to put some context to it so that you can understand how I perceive intensity. So for the last year, I would say, maybe a little bit more, I've been doing Mensa style high intensity training. So I was exercising once every 4 days. That's 4 exercises every 16 days. You end up doing roughly 7 to 8 training sessions a month. So not that many throughout the year. And you do extremely high intensity. So you're taking every set to either perceived failure, so like technical breakdown. So like your form falters, it's not perfect form, so then you stop, or you go to complete muscular failure, which is what I like to do on isolation exercises, and then you go technical failure on anything with a barbell compound movement. So if it's isolation or on a machine, you could go to complete muscle failure. And what happens with that is you end up being extremely sore, and so you need those 4 days to recover, both physically and neurologically. And then with what I'm doing now, I'm training every day, and the intensity is very light, and it's pretty easy to recover and get a little bit stronger every day. And so far it's so good. What I want to give you context on is the perception of how much weight I'm using. So the best I've ever done on an overhead press with a kettlebell, one arm overhead press with a kettlebell, is an 80-pound kettlebell. And I believe I did that 2 times with my left arm and 1 time with my right. And I started this program with a 35-pound kettlebell for 1 arm overhead press. Now I can easily do that for 10 reps. I could probably get it for close to 15, really struggling, pushing the reps out. So it's less than half of my 1 rep max. And so the intensity on that is very low, especially for only doing 5 repetitions. And it's important to understand that intensity can come in 2 different factors. You can either go with an absolute 1 rep all-out exertion, which is something like powerlifters or Olympic lifters do, or you can go to a rep failure, which can be applied in any particular activity. Bodybuilders will take sets to high rep failure. You also have CrossFitters who will often take things to high rep failure. And a lot of times with CrossFit, it's round failure, so like as many rounds as possible. So you're trying to get in as many rounds as you can, and so you're going until you can't physically perform another round. What we want to consider here is how to choose a weight so we have adequate intensity. So for easy strength, the intensity is supposed to be very low. So for chin-ups, I have done as much as a 53-pound weight around my waist for multiple reps. For dips, I've done a 62-pound kettlebell around my waist for 4 reps. For the double kettlebell front squat, I've done 2 80s, 80-pound kettlebell in each hand for 5 reps. And that was working sets, that wasn't like to failure. And then swings, the most I think I've ever done is probably the 106-pound kettlebell, or 262s I think for like power swings. Maybe 270s. I can't tell. I don't train it that frequently, which is why I wanted to incorporate it into this program. But because of my back injury, I've not really been able to do power swings or double kettlebell swings. And my squats are still extremely light. But it's good because I'm still doing something, but I'm keeping, like I said, the intensity low. And so this allows me to increase the frequency and, duration is not really increased. It's still pretty low, but frequency is very high. And so intensity is low to moderate. And this allows me to recover from everything I'm doing very, very pointedly, very quickly. And so it allows for that neurological adaptation, because the more you can adequately stimulate your nervous system, the more quickly it's going to adapt. So you don't want to overwhelm the muscles or the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system. In order to stimulate the somatic nervous system adequately, you have to perform solid repetitions without form breakdown, and this will condition the nerves to fire the muscles optimally and efficiently, and then you'll be able to move more weight, not necessarily because the muscles are stronger, but because the muscles are moving more efficiently because the nervous system is performing at a higher level. So when choosing weights for your program, you need to know what the intensity is expected to be. So if you're going for something very high intensity, you also need to understand, am I going to a rep failure or am I going for a 1 rep max? How many reps does the particular program call for? How many reps are in this particular set? Is it 5? Is it 3? Is it 2? Is it 10? If it's 5 or below, I find it's better to go off of a percentage of your 1 rep max. If it's closer to 10 or more, you're just going to have to go to perceived failure. So for like leg press, I was maxing out our leg press here at 520 pounds just because that's how many plates will fit on it. And I could do 20 repetitions with that. And it was a hard set, but I couldn't do any more weight, so I just had to go slower with it. And I get to 20 and rack it. It was close to failure, but not absolute gut-busting, gonna puke type of failure. And it's important to understand that. And the more you train, the more you'll understand the impact that intensity has on your training. So that's something that we have to understand as well. And we, just start the program, try to go through it, start off slow, start off light, and then adapt. Because it's far better to start off with a very light weight and add weight to it as you progress through the program, add a bigger amount of weight to it, versus starting off with too much weight and then hurting yourself or not making any progress throughout the duration of the program. Because you're still, even if you're doing perfect form with light weight, you'll get the neurological benefits of the program. And the muscular stimulation can occur later when you are better adept at understanding the training program and the necessities of intensity that are required by the program. Remember, we're training for a lifetime here. This is an endurance race, not a sprint. First person to 500 pounds doesn't win. The person who can deadlift 500 pounds at 85 or 90, well, they might win. And that's what we should really be going for. We want a large amount of strength throughout our entire life, and that's what's going to give us youthfulness, and it's going to improve our longevity. So we're not training to be the biggest and baddest in the world in the next 5 days. We want to have healthy, long-lasting, enduring strength for the rest of our lives, because the demands of life will be far greater than any amount of posing in the mirror you could achieve. And the strength that you need to carry yourself and your family and your loved ones will be beyond what you can achieve in the next 5 days. So keep that in mind as you put together your training program and as you progress along your training journey. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to add them in. And until next time, have a good day.